Having just finished a vacation to Yellowstone National Park, we decided to drive down to Grand Teton National Park as well. If you leave the south entrance of Yellowstone, it's only about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes down to Jackson, Wyoming. So we headed out and enjoyed a very beautiful drive down through the countryside from Montana into Wyoming, and our destination was Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Jackson Hole is just that. It's a town tucked down in a hole between some mountains and is an extremely popular stop for tourists, so expect it to be crowded here. In the center of town is Town Square, which has 4 antler arches on all 4 corners of the square. This is a popular photo stop for tourists. Everything in Jackson Hole is very nice, but it's also very pricey, so just be aware of that before you book a trip. There's lots of bars and stores and plenty of shopping, but again, everything has a good price tag on it. To give you an idea, we went into the local ice cream shop and the milkshake was $20, so just be expecting that. We settled in at the Golden Eagle Inn, which is an old-fashioned motor inn. It was the best bang for the buck as far as finding a hotel in Jackson Hole. Again, everything is very expensive there. The place is very old-fashioned. For example, you got to walk across the parking lot to the main office to fill your ice bucket. This may seem like a big deal, but it really wasn't. It was kind of cool staying in a place that was old-fashioned like this. And the rooms were nice. We had 2 beds, a shower, and we also had a little refrigerator and a microwave, so it was enough to get us by for 2 days. That afternoon, we took a hike around Jackson Lake. It was good to stretch out after the car ride, and it was a beautiful area to walk through. It comes out at Jackson Lake, which is one of the most peaceful places to sit and relax. We stopped by the lodge at Jackson Lake. It's got a back porch with an awesome view of the Tetons. The next morning we got up real early. We wanted to catch the sunrise at a place called Schwabacher's Landing. This is an excellent place to see the Tetons early in the morning because they have this cool color to them. If you get there early enough, before the sun's fully up, you can watch the mountains change colors as the sun rises. From there we headed over to Mormon Row, which is just another great spot to take photos at sunrise. Which this is a good time to mention. If you're like me and you like to take pictures with drones or videos, they are strictly prohibited in these national parks. Our first stop in the park was the Chapel of Transfiguration. This is a quick stop as it's a small place with not a lot to do, but if you go at sunrise, there's a cool effect of the sun coming through the windows in the morning. From here, it was time to head out on our first hike of the day. This would be a long hike up to Taggart Lake and Bradley Lake. Round trip would be about 6 miles on this one. This area was much different than the things we'd seen in Yellowstone National Park. Whereas Yellowstone has roads and rangers and it's pretty wide open everywhere, this was off the beaten path. We saw lots of signs warning us to have bear spray, make plenty of noise so we don't sneak up on any animals, and there were posters of missing persons, people missing over a month. But we didn't think much about it. We just continued on into the trail, taking in the sights. The trail had thick brush on both sides, so we were kind of caught off guard when some animals surprised us on the trail. If you're curious what that was, let me rewind it for you. At this point, we were just walking along the trail where a grizzly bear stepped out right onto the path in front of us. It really got our attention. And that's not the only bear that we saw. Further up the trail, we saw another one, right in the trail where we were walking. But as long as you make plenty of noise, let these animals know where you are, they typically want to stay away from you. So we continued on down the trail to catch some awesome views. This area was beautiful. A lot of cool things to see, some awesome sounds to take in, just the sound of the creeks rushing. After a successful hike up and dodging a few bears, we began to trek back down. We found a spot to play, climbed up on this large rock. Pretty cool spot to take a photo before heading back to the truck. The next place we wanted to go was a place called Inspiration Point by Jenny Lake. Our only option to get there was a 7-mile walk, or we could pay to take the ferry to get us across the lake and then hike 1.5 miles up to the point. Having already walked 6 miles that morning, we decided to take the boat. When you get to the other side, there's a 1.5 mile trail up to Inspiration Point, and you can tell when you start that it's going to be a pretty rocky path on the way up there. The further up we went, the tougher it got, and we were already feeling it from that morning. It's one of those experiences where you can look up ahead and see where the path goes, and you know you have a challenging trail ahead. Both my boys are pretty athletic. They play sports, run track, play football, play baseball, and they were starting to get pretty tired. So when we finally got to the top, I was proud of them for toughing it out. And we had another awesome view, looking out over Jenny Lake with some mountains in the background. It was a great spot to sit down and take a break. So we sat down and hung out with some chipmunks for a little bit. We took some more photos before we would head back down. And this was the end of our short stay at the Tetons. From here we would hike back down, catch the boat to head back all the way to our hotel, catch some sleep before heading back home. We stopped in Teton National Park just to catch some views, but if you're an avid hiker, you really could spend days here, as there's many trails that would take you a day or more to complete. But for this time, that's all. We hope you enjoyed our views of the Tetons, and as always, thanks for watching.